What is up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, October 25th, 2019, the day that Bitcoin makes a move. 16% to the upside. Teaser to answer the question in the title right off the bat. Will it continue? $9,200. Right now, Bitcoin's at $8,600. Will Bitcoin get to $9,200? And once at $9,200, will Bitcoin close above it on the daily and stay above it on the daily? That is the bullish indicator that we want to see. We're kind of far from that right now. We're not there, but the coming weekend, the coming next few days, the coming hours, who knows how quick this could happen. That is simply what you want to look out for. In this video, I'm going to talk about why that is. So let me minimize myself and jump into the video. First off, before I jump into the charts, I tweeted this around a week ago, 7 days ago. The Bitcoin bull run that everyone wants can very easily begin with something as simple as a 5% green weekly candle next week. That's this week. This is what I'll be watching for. Another red week and 6,000s looking very likely. So this is me talking about the current week that we're in. If we could get even a 5% green weekly candle when we were trading, I think right around $8,000, that is simply all we would need to get this reversal in motion. And if we go to the weekly chart, look what we have thus far. Will we close this week with this candle? Not sure, but you can see literally almost exactly a 5% candle. I don't know what's going to happen in the next couple days. However, Bitcoin made a very nice move today, currently trading just above $8,600, but there is so much resistance ahead. And I want to talk about that resistance. And I also just want to talk about, in general, the possibility of breaking that resistance, right? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I want to talk at least about it could happen. Before I do, zooming out on the charts, just look at, I mean, this perfect harmony on the charts is so good. We have, and I love starting my videos with this. I have to, especially for people that are new to the channel. This is a huge foundation to the long-term trend of Bitcoin. It is the cycles of Bitcoin. In the cycles of Bitcoin, we have our resistance areas that really differentiate the bull market from the bear market and entering a bull market and things of that nature. So we have our Fibonacci retracement from our bull market high in 2013 to our bear market low. And this is the Fibonacci resistance area. You see it here on the screen. It's this green area. We use it on every chart and every time frame. The 618 to 786, it's right there. That was a doorway to the bull market, that last bull market, right? It happened right around this halving, this white line. That's where we got resistance. We came back down and then we cruised through it. Similarly, but more quickly, Bitcoin, again, bull market high, bear market low, hits resistance. This is cycle resistance. This is huge resistance. The doors to the bull market. Bitcoin hits it, comes back down, similar to what happened before, well before the halving this time around, right? And now we are looking for a reversal. Are we getting it right now? I don't know. That we have to track. That we have to keep an eye on. However, you see the similarities in the charts right now. They continue to impress, and they continue to add great context to these longer-term videos that we do, the longer-term trend of Bitcoin. Back in this area, and this is the last thing I'll mention on the weekly chart, back in this entire move for Bitcoin, we could have been doing exactly what we're doing now, which is anticipating this symmetrical triangle setup, right? And essentially, this triangle did get 4 touches, 1, 2, 3, 4, before breaking out, right? But same thing. Back then, we could have been tracking this right around here. We could have been saying Bitcoin might be coming down to $320 to touch this lower trend line. It didn't happen, right? And similarly, right now, we're doing a very similar thing, which is a symmetrical triangle going to have a setup, a confirmation? This is anticipating, right? This isn't in play right now. We haven't had that 4th touch. We have 1, 2, 3, and we're waiting for a possible 4th touch. You could argue maybe that there's 2 touches down here, but that's stretching it. But we're looking, the charts look so similar to what Bitcoin was doing before. Right now, we're above the 50-week moving average right here, and we're anticipating what's going to happen next. Anything can happen, obviously. Now, what I want to talk about is if we zoom in on the charts a little bit, going to the daily chart, now we can talk about like this move that is actually happening right now. So looking at the daily chart, here's what we have going on. If you remember Bitcoin in this, rising wedge, broadening rising wedge that we fell into, right? We broke most recently, just a couple days ago, people feeling pain just a couple days ago. Today, extremely excited. It's funny, the emotions in the market, but this just happened. We broke through the bottom trend line. And from there, we were anticipating, at the very least, testing the bottom trend line again around $7,900. Today, within it was 5 minutes, Bitcoin just went crazy and broke right through that. And we're going to talk about that move in a minute. But what got us here is a really important question. What got us here is this. We had this breakout out of this symmetrical triangle, essentially made up of lower highs, higher lows. We had a breakout, and that is kind of what has been happening. And we've talked about the target for that breakout down here around $6,500. And that's right in the area of $6,400. I did a video on this a week or two ago talking about mining costs and $6,400 being a Bitcoin floor for a potential bounce. So these ranges have been something that we've been talking about in technical analysis. And so that was our target to the downside. So our breakout out of this entire broadening rising wedge was right here, that $6,700. Now, what I want to talk about, especially in this video, is this. I'm going to go to the 4 hour to kind of demonstrate this. Some of the most bullish moves you could have in terms of looking for reversals are false breakouts, right? And I remember very clearly what led us into the initial move that we had out of the bear market. And I had to chart this to show you this. Remember this move to $14,000. This is the 4 hour chart. I remember very clearly tracking this and doing videos on this rising wedge in Bitcoin, right? And we had a breakout below the lower trend line, right? Now, again, technical analysis, what we do is we always, after we have a breakout, we want to look for a revisit of that trend line. Number one, because if we see strong resistance there, we can get a very strong bounce back down, right? We always look for that. But the other reason is because we're looking to see if there's strength in terms of Bitcoin against that trend. And if there is strength, what we look for is a busted pattern. So in this case, we have a busted rising wedge. And those are extremely bullish. When you have a busted pattern like that, you have a massive push of Bitcoin just completely demolishing the pattern, right? And so that was the catalyst to Bitcoin moving to 14,000. You remember this back in May, back in June, everybody was going crazy because Bitcoin just kept making higher highs up to 14,000. Now, with that in mind, if we go over, and actually you can keep in mind even the look of this, what this looks like. If we go over to what has happened now, we have still a rising wedge. It's a broadening rising wedge. We have a similar scenario, right? Possibly. This hasn't happened yet, but this is what we want to look for. We want to look for a busted pattern here. This is not considered busted yet. Of course, we've come down. We want to retest it and we want to break through it, but that's not what considers it a busted pattern. That's not the bullish busted pattern that you're looking for. What we want to look for is basically breaking through the upper trend line, right? And then seeing support above the upper trend line. So at the beginning of the video, I basically said 9,200 is what you want to look for. And that's like right around here, right? So we want to see if Bitcoin approaches this area. And this, you really, in the best case scenario, would happen in the next 24 hours or so. So that's the first question. If this doesn't continue, right? If we don't get this move and we don't get this busted breakout to the upside, then there is a very good chance of more downside. And here's why I say that with pretty good confidence. That is because I'm not just going off of this pattern that you see on the screen, right? We have this upper trend line. Maybe we get resistance here. And I'm not just saying we get resistance and we're going back down, right? Playing into that, confluent with this area here, 8,900 up to 9,200. Confluent with that area, besides this pattern you see on the screen, now going back to the daily chart, is something maybe most important. And that is this. That is right around $8,900. We have the 50 moving average and the 200 moving average clashing right there, right? So we have this entire area, and you can just see it on the screen. Here's the upper trend line of that rising wedge we need to break above to consider a busted pattern. And then right in that area, just below it, is the 50 moving average, 200 moving average, 50 moving average looking like it's going to cross below the 200 moving average lately. Very bearish scenario for many. In my opinion, if that happens, it will be like this. Bitcoin will see resistance literally where it is right now, maybe just a little higher. And then we see resistance and we come back down, and then we start considering the $6,400 area again. We get the 50 moving average cross below the 200 moving average. I do not think Bitcoin is going to just go, in this crazy low capitulation thing, in the 3,000s or anything. I think it would be in the 6,000s, potentially 5,000s, but that's it. And in that scenario, it might take some patience to kind of climb out of that little rut, but you'll have the 50 moving average kind of coming down a little bit and then back up eventually, maybe sometime in 2020, right? And then the long-term scenario zoomed out on the charts, it'll look like a consolidation of the 50 moving average and 200 moving average. That is a long-term picture of what a trend reversal looks like on the midterm, right? So it will be a long-term continuation of Bitcoin to the upside, but that would be a short-term consolidation, right? A small little 50 moving average cross below the 200 moving average. It's completely normal, and that's more of what I would anticipate. I don't think it's going to be some crazy, bearish bear market like we got here. That's this scenario back here where we're trading 50 moving average for like a year, right? I don't think, and what I mean by that is trading below the 50 moving average, resistance below the 50 moving average for a long time. I don't think that's what's going to be happening, even if we get a 50 moving average cross below the 200 moving average. And I know this chart looks extremely messy. So back to the 4-hour chart, what we have here is very simple. I mean, look at this range. Going into tonight, going into this weekend, this is literally all I guess you can look at whatever you want to look at, but this is what I'm looking at. We're right now around 8,600, going up to this range of resistance that I'm watching. We're only 3.5% away, right? Right here where I have this mouse is basically the 50 moving average and 200 moving average on the daily chart. This is a huge resistance right here. We're 3.5% away from huge resistance. And then from there, obviously, another 3% or so up to 6.5% from where we are, the next bit of resistance, this pattern, this upper trend line pattern. If we break above that, meaning if we break above 9,200, 9,300, Bitcoin could be doing something incredibly exciting, namely getting ready for another push into a very long-term, enjoyable bull market that everybody wants. But I can't sit here and say that's what's happening right now, because there's a ton of resistance just above us, 3.5%, 5%, 6% above us. And so I will say that if it happened that Bitcoin starts its steady, slow rise to the upside, I would not be surprised, especially going into the halving in May and then beyond that, right? I would not be surprised if that started right now. And to bring it back together, that's why around a week ago, I tweeted this and I said the Bitcoin bull run that everyone wants can very easily begin with something as simple as a 5% green weekly candle next week. And this week, this is what we're seeing as of today right now. And the move going back in time is very similar to the move that Bitcoin had in August of 2016, right around here. You see this little reversal right here in this red candle. Right after this Fibonacci resistance up here, right? Extremely small little red candle, 5%, and then a couple weeks trading sideways. if I can find the thing. And then this green weekly candle, 5% candle, and then a slow uptrend, right? Testing this upper trend line in this longer term pattern that we had. So we're in a very similar area right now. Bitcoin can totally diverge away from that trend and that harmony. I mean, it's almost too good to be true that Bitcoin would begin right now. If Bitcoin began this move into a bull market right now, right? Even if it took a couple months, but we get above this previous resistance and we break this Fibonacci retracement up to 16,000. If Bitcoin was just beginning this move to do that, that would just be ridiculous because it's such a giveaway. It's such a giveaway. It's on the charts. I was with a buddy earlier and just talking about all of this stuff. And of course there's risk in these markets, but like time and time again, these charts, they just keep, the consistency just keeps playing out over and over again. It's absolutely insane. So that's kind of what I'm watching right now. Will this be the big time that everybody wants to see in terms of Bitcoin making its move? I don't know. But I'm telling you, on the 4-hour chart, this is exactly what you want to watch for. You know, everything else, I don't know what to tell you, but this is what you want to watch for. You want to look at this area up to $9,200, $9,300 down to $8,900. And if we get through that area, then, you know, I can start doing some speculative bullish videos and have some fun with it. I stopped doing videos, you know, kind of all up in here as much because it's just boring. And I don't want to say the same thing every day. You know what to expect or anticipate in these markets with these charts. We know our breakout targets. I'm not going to just keep doing videos every day to remind you of them. YouTube doesn't like that, but I'm not going to keep doing it. What I do want to show you real quick is this. On the weekly chart, we have the weekly chart. So here's what we're comparing a lot to, right? This Fibonacci resistance back in 2016. We had our breakout right through into the bull markets. What was happening then? Well, very similar move was happening then that is happening now, right? And we can kind of look at this on the charts. So if you look at the consolidation of Bitcoin alongside even just the stock RSI down here at the bottom of the screen, this quicker moving momentum oscillator, Bitcoin leveling out after that rejection off of the Fibonacci retracement, long-term cycle resistance, and then boom. I mean, this truly was, in terms of, if you look at the stock RSI, it's up and down all over the place. But on the weekly chart, this move right here at the bottom of my screen, this move, that was illustrative of the bull market commencing. This was Bitcoin breaking through huge cycle resistance. And it's essentially exactly what we're waiting for now. Will it happen right now? I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get this. Maybe in 2 or 3 months, we can look back and I can revisit this video that I did today on October 25th, and we can see this chart play out. We can see Bitcoin did continued upward momentum through 16,000, right, into this overbought area. And we've entered the bull market here, maybe in January or something. I don't know. That's speculative. But this is what I'm looking at on the chart. Right now is the beginning of a potential move like that. But please keep in mind, if you zoom in on the daily, and this is a very, very messy daily chart, I have to at least get rid of a couple things. Please keep in mind what is above us right now. And it is a lot of resistance. A lot of resistance. Look at all this. 50 moving average, 200 moving average. However, if Bitcoin breaks that resistance, if Bitcoin breaks, and in any scenario where Bitcoin is breaking strong resistance, it's because Bitcoin is looking strong. So look for this area to be broken, 8,900 up to 9,200, and let's see what happens. That's it. That's all I have. I'm still working over here, everybody. I got to get back to work. I appreciate everybody coming by. I hope you had a great week. I hope you have a ridiculously awesome weekend. Hopefully we all see some more gains. 16%. Come on. Let's see some 40% gains or something. But I thank you for coming. If you're here and not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you as part of the channel. I will see you all in the next video. Have a good day, and God bless.